What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's Late Night Agenda. And yes, you can start to celebrate. Yes, you can start to feel that relief of the contract situation finally being sorted out. We have multiple confirmations today that this deal is just a matter of a name on a contract. It is signed, sealed and delivered almost. It is dealed, it is delivered, but not quite there yet with regards to the signature. But it's done. You can start to celebrate. We've got Ornstein, Romano, Joyce, and lots of others talking about the fact that this contract situation is now resolved. And look, you know, do I take full credit for it? Well, yeah, really I do. You know, if I hadn't have taken today off, clearly this wouldn't have been sorted today. You're welcome. Just my luck, isn't it? The one day I say I'm going to take off, and there you go. Somebody even joked about that with me on Monday. But the news is genuine. You can start to feel relief. It's just a matter of when we get that official notification now from the club. But you don't need to be concerned anymore. It is going to be a 2-year deal for both gentlemen. I don't know about Virgil's pay side of things, to be honest, yet. But Mohamed Salah will be on the same money, according to multiple reports. There is no wage cut for him. And then you got to ask yourself, is this Robbie Fowler's little theory coming into effect? Although there is a little situation with Trent we'll talk about later as well, where maybe everything hasn't been decided yet. More to come. So yeah, as always, folks, do hope you guys are in good form this evening. Why wouldn't you be with the news that's coming out today? And I'm going to take you through it bit by bit. A little bit of a nice surprise as well. Today, we just ordered ourselves a full-size replica Premier League trophy that we're hoping we'll be able to bring over to Liverpool for our 2 live shows as well. So, if you are coming to the Anfield Agenda end of season parties, and you can get your tickets with the QR code there, you'll also have a chance to get your photo taken with the Premier League trophy on the day as well. We're just awaiting confirmation of the exact delivery date on it, but it is on its way to my house, and then of course it will be brought over to the UK with us. So if you want to come along, celebrate with us, heck, lift that Premier League trophy, well, you know what to do. You can get your tickets with the link in the description. It's Robbie Fowler's 50th birthday today as well. Talk about apps at JJ Orr. We love that, JJ. What have we got? Camel Deep, Sani, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, bro. Appreciate you. So look, we've been thinking long and hard about the situation with member-only chat and stuff, and we are going to persist with it, but we're thinking maybe we start to just review it on a match day we have at members only, and on every other nightly stream, we're going to consider going back normal chat. But on match day stuff, we think it's worth keeping it member only. But no changes as of just yet. But right, folks, look, I want to just celebrate with you all tonight. So I'm going to take you through the day as it's unfolding, what people are saying, and what we as Liverpool fans can expect. Fraser, how are you, my man? Said Milos Kerkez liked the Salah renewal post. He did. And we'll be talking about that in lots more detail as well, my man. Mukrab said, Craig, I'm not believing any contract news till it's announced officially. Okay, Mukrab, that's you. You're free to do what you want, bro. I'm telling you, my word, 100%, it's done. So you don't need to worry about anything. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. And I've got this from multiple sources. Multiple. So it's a matter of when the club announce it, but it's done. So, you know, I've noticed, mate, and I don't know what's up. Maybe you're going through a bad time or something. You've been a bit argumentative in the chat lately, but you don't need to worry, Mukrab. It's done. You can celebrate it. You can enjoy it. I give you my word on this one. You can hold me to account on it, bro, if I'm lying. Right. TOTT2KZ1 said, hoping this news on the contracts give the lads a boost of energy for the final games of the season. As do I. Look, I think that's kind of leaning into why this is being confirmed now as well. What else have we got coming up? Liz, will there be pictures for those who are stuck at home? Yes. 100% yes, Liz. We're bringing a team with us over. There'll be a photographer there. We're going to be videoing some of it. We're going to be doing lots of fun content in and around the couple of shows we're doing in Liverpool. So yes. And Liz, by the way, I apologise to you. I only seen your reply to my post about the helicopter crash now. So I did reply back on Discord. So apologies on that one, Liz. I don't know why, but I'm not getting notifications on the on the moderator chat on Discord. Hey Craig, I got a membership on another YouTube account I have. I sent you an email about it, but it's that my comments aren't going through on the account. We don't control that, Archie. We can check if you're on the list of banned accounts, but other than that, it's not something that we can do. So I didn't get the email, so I don't know which one it went to, but we will look into it for you, my man. Of course we will. If you spend money on a membership, I want to make sure you get use of it. So let me look into that for you, Archie, and I'll get back to you. Maybe the email went to Connor's account, so leave it with me, bro. Kyle Agger said free chat Friday. I think we're just going to leave it member-only chat for match days and hope that the rest of the days it'll be fine. But again, we're working through this at the minute. And thank you, Kyle, as well. Right, look, I have to get through the news before people get a little bit annoyed with me. So bear with me. Right, let me get through it. So where do I want to start off with? Right, the first one of the day that came to our attention came from Fabrizio Romano. And Fabrizio Romano wrote this. One sec. Breaking. Mohamed Salah closing in on new deal at Liverpool as agreement is now in the final stages. Club confident to get it done soon. Same for Virgil van Dijk, who recently confirmed positive talks. Salah and Liverpool will continue together. Next up, we had David Ornstein, who said Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk both closing in on 2-year contract extensions with Liverpool. Both players into the final months of existing deals, but a breakthrough was found in negotiations and fresh terms are set to extend the key pair at Anfield until the summer of 2027. On top of that then, you had David Ornstein saying the same thing, again confirming it. Sorry, I'm getting through all these there. Paul Joyce then said there's been a breakthrough in negotiations with Virgil van Dijk and Liverpool. And then we have Paul Joyce saying there have been reports this week that Salah's age meant he was facing a reduction in salary to stay at Liverpool, but it's understood a pay cut has not been on the agenda during talks. And then we've got Ben Jacobs, who said Mohamed Salah set to extend for 2 years on similar terms and without a pay cut. The agreement is close, just awaiting a formal signature. So there you go. Lots of journalists, lots of upbeat talks, and you can now safely rest knowing that we're going to go into next season defending the Premier League title with our captain and with potentially our new vice captain. Kyle Agger, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Nick Kingdom, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Daniel, our rivals can forget about Salah and VVD leaving. Yes. And we can finally start to enjoy the last 7 games of the season properly now, knowing that the transfer window is far more, easily realistic to go out there and get the job done we need done. And we'll have more on that as well over the course of this stream. We're going to be talking about who Liverpool's confirmed number 1 target is up top, and lots of others, including a downgrading of the price for Liam Delap. More on that to come in a few minutes. Right. Farron Davey said basically 1 more year of each before we sell. So I can see why you think that, but let me just give you some more information, Farron, that I'm aware of. Now, I can't speak to this from Virgil's case, but I can speak to it from Mohamed Salah's case. He won't let Liverpool sell him in a year. Whatever happens, Virgil or Mohamed Salah won't be being sold by Liverpool. Same way he wasn't going to be sold this time when he got to his last year, because in negotiations flat out said ain't going to be happening. So you don't need to worry about that one, mate. Salah will be staying the 2 years because he won't allow the club to sell him. You know, if he's going to leave and the club want him out, well, he's going to make it more financially beneficial to him, which would involve, of course, not selling. So look, don't worry about it. It's a 2-year deal for him. It's a 2-year deal for Virgil. And we can finally take a breath and start to look forward. Archie said, thanks Craig, your content, use the email in the description. That would be the Connor one. Partnerships, I believe, is the one in the description. So I'll ask Connor to fill me in on it, Archie, and look into it for you. But I'm the other one. Connor takes care of that one. Right, some more super chats to get through. I've done Carl's. Let me get to David's. I'm very happy about the contract, but it shouldn't have got this far. Agreed, David. It shouldn't have. But we are at least at the point now where we're happy about it. And on the Trent situation, all hope might not be lost there, at least according to some reports today. They're not saying he's changed his mind or anything, but I'll give you more on that in a few minutes. Stevie Boy said, great news to wake up to. Could Trent do a U-turn and stay? Well, on that, Stevie Boy, just before I went live, there was a post by Anfield Sector that said, while the mood is more positive around Salah and Virgil van Dijk, it remains to be seen what decision Trent Alexander-Arnold will take. Recent suggestions that he's already pledged his future to Real were emphatically dismissed by those with knowledge of the current state of affairs. So, let's wait and see. I'm not saying that that's definitively Trent staying or not. I still feel he's going to Madrid, but I don't know, maybe fans' emotion has started to get to Trent. I don't know, man. I'm trying to be optimistic here, but ultimately we got the 2 deals sorted out for the 2 lads, and we can start to enjoy and celebrate that, because our captain's staying and our talisman's staying, and Mo has, well, he's got unfinished business with the Premier League goal scoring charts. Right now, Steve Alders, he said, now we need Trent to stay. We're just waiting for where's that one gone? We're just waiting for Mo and Virgil to sign. Well, look, I wonder, Robbie Fowler had the theory that the club didn't want to announce the other 2 boys or agree with them, but I just think, I don't know, I find it hard to believe that the club have extended both and don't think Trent is going. Because if Mo's on the same money, right, and I would imagine Virgil would be as well, I don't think that the club would have, dragged it out this long, unless financially they waited to see what happened with Trent. So, I don't know, it's just my thought process on it anyway. The boys saw the Madrid match yesterday, said Jeremy. And look, again, full credit to Arsenal on that one. That was an incredible result for them. Rob JH, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. If Trent goes to Real Madrid, will it be the same situation Coutinho went through? Well, at least with Coutinho, we got an ungodly amount of money. We got, 140 million euro or something like that for the Coutinho one. Trent to be walking out on a free. And look, let's ask that. I want to ask how you guys are feeling about the Trent situation, so bear with me. Right, I'm going to ask, do you think Trent stays? Simple one, yes or no. Vote away and let me know. Right. Adzer said 150 million. I don't think it was that close. I think it was 140 million euro. I think it was about 120 something million pound, if my memory's right. But either way, look, it was an ungodly amount of money. Steve Tufnell said, at this point, I don't care. Look, for me, I'm not going to lose any sleep, Steve, one way or the other. But I'm not going to sit here and say I wouldn't prefer Trent to stay. I mean, I'd love Trent to stay and have him and Bradley as realistic options going into next season. But either way, I said a few months ago, and I'll say it now, in the short term, I think Virgil and Mo were more important to stay than Trent. Although I do want Trent to stay. Of course I do, but I don't know. I still get the feeling he won't. Trent's defending is replaceable. Nothing of Mo and Virgil is replaceable, said Luke Belton. I agree. And look, we've seen with Conor Bradley, he might not have the passing ability of a Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I would say he's better at driving forward. He's more aggressive in the challenge, and he's more aggressive in the way he plays. So, again, not the end of the world if Trent does go, but of course, as Liverpool fans, we'd like him to stay. Right, more news for you to get through, by the way. So this comes in from the I newspaper, and it said Liverpool are understood to have concluded that any move for Alexander Isak this summer would be fiendishly difficult, with Newcastle holding all the cards and in no mood to trade. So again, reiterating there, we can give up on the idea of Isak. But I do want to bring you to another piece on Hugo, which caught my eye. So, Ben Jacobs, and again, I heard something today. So, I was messaging back and forth with someone today. Got some information on Hugo. Excuse me for not being able to pronounce his name yet. And then very quickly, I'd seen this Ben Jacobs post. And Ben Jacobs' post said, Liverpool's data-driven scouting has seen them take a liking to Brighton star João Pedro and Eintracht Frankfurt star Hugo Ekitike. With both players scoring strongly in their analysis, both players have been looked at as potential targets. I can go a step further. I can say that Hugo is the number one striking target at this moment in time. He's the preference for Liverpool to go and get. And on that, 1 second. Sorry, I'm going through so much news that I have in my notes here. Lewis Steele said, Hugo Ekitike is the name that pops up most when I speak to people, so I think it's fair to say he's the one to keep a close eye on. So it's looking like it could be a Hugo Ekitike for Darwin Núñez. But on Liam Delap, Sky Sports posted this earlier on to say Liam Delap will cost £30 million if Ipswich Town go down due to a relegation clause in his contract, with the striker's situation being monitored by a long list of clubs in England and abroad. So initially when it broke that he had a relegation release clause in his contract, it was spoken about at £40 million. Well, Sky and their reporting have confirmed it at £30 million. Now, I guess the question I'd have for you guys is, would that make him more appealing as a secondary option as an attacker if you knew it was £30 million? For me, I said yesterday I'd happily have Hugo and Delap to replace Jota and Darwin. And that makes me even more up for it at the idea of it being a £30 million deal. Mike said, much rather have Hugo than João Pedro or Delap, so that works for me. João Pedro, look, there's a player in there. But if Brighton's valuation is staunch at about £100 million, it should be a non-starter for me, Mike, you know. Because João Pedro, as good a player as he is not at this moment in time a £100 million footballer. Not by a long way. James, LFC86, said 30 million quid is worth a punt. Delap at 30 million, I'd go for that, said Steve Tufnell. Andy was the best relegation buy ever. He was, and I can't ever speak about this, Jeremy, without basically saying that was a Kevin Stewart swap. Because we sold Kevin Stewart to Hull for pretty much the same price that we bought Andy Robertson for. I think we can say we got the better end of that deal. Craig, what about Cunha? I thought he was linked to. He is linked. What we said about Cunha the other day was that Cunha wants to come to Liverpool. That we are his preference. I never knew what the club's thought process was. But Cunha will be there or thereabouts. He will be a name being considered. But Hugo at this moment in time is where the majority of the people who are closer to this situation think Liverpool are looking. Salah was just over 30 million. The rest is history, said Jason Irish Red. Yep. I still wonder what would have happened if Jurgen had have gotten Julian Brandt, the player he wanted at that time. And actually, while we're speaking about Jurgen, the club confirmed something today. So the LFC Foundation said, our honorary ambassador Jurgen Klopp will join us as a guest speaker at the 2025 Gala Ball for an evening of glamour and live entertainment. And then they put a link in, find out more about available packages. So if you want to go and support the LFC Foundation, they're having their Gala Ball Friday 23rd of May. And tickets are on sale, so go on to the club's official website and have a look there. And of course, any money raised is for the LFC Foundation, which of course does great work. Right, what have we got here? Silky said, as a Frenchman, Ekitike is a fraud and way too expensive. Do you know what, mate? You're not the first or second French person to say that. Well, you're probably the first person to use the word fraud, but you're not the first or second French person to say to me that you think he's overrated. Which kind of worries me, to be honest. But, as I mentioned, the club's data-led approach looks like him and João Pedro are the ones scoring highly on the metrics for what we're looking for, or at least what Arna's system is looking for. Oh, so it's 2-0 now, Barcelona. Nice. Lewandowski goal, was it? Happy days. I was hoping it was Yamal. I have Yamal to score on a bet, so I was hoping it was him. Villa 1, PSG 1. Yeah, I'd seen that just before I went on. Morgan Roger opened the scoring for Villa, and then Doué with an absolutely world-class goal. Like, if you haven't seen Doué's goal, it's a peach. Absolute belter of a goal. So 1-1 in Paris at half-time. Right. More news, because I've got lots of it today, ladies and gentlemen. 2-1 PSG. There you go. Who scores it? 2-1 Paris Saint-Germain, the chat are saying. So they've turned that around. Still, though, it's from Kavicha Kvaratskhelia, is it? Good. I also had him on a bet. Let me check something. Interesting one. There you go. Right. Let's talk about River Plate and a player from there that Liverpool have been linked with. Anfield sector posted to say, info, Liverpool is interested in River Plate star Franco Mastantuono, and is closely monitoring a situation ahead of the June transfer window. Now this is where, of course, once again I ask you guys and girls for your help in letting me know anything about Franco Mastantuono. Carl said, Craig, do you think we'll get a Wolf of Wall Street style I'm effing staying announcement from Trent? I mean, look, any announcement, mate, just even a, thumbs up, I'm staying, caption would do me at this moment. Why did I join as a member and have my message ignored? Do you think I can read out every comment from every member that posts? So, I'll tell you what, I'll make it easy for you. Off you pop. And stop cry arson. Like, the fucking entitlement is next level. Do you think I can read out thousands of comments on every live stream? Fuck me. Well, I'll tell you what. Have a timeout. And I hope, if you're going to be this way, just cancel your membership, mate. In all honesty, because that's a level of fucking entitlement that I find very, very strange. Just even common sense wise. Like, oh, why am I commenting? Maybe your comments are shit. I don't know. I haven't even noticed your name, to be honest with you. So, there's always one. There's always one. Joe, I'll give you your £4 back if you're that bothered, mate, that I missed your comment. But look at all the attention you're getting now from Cry Arson. Just not the type of attention you wanted. And you've taken up 3-4 minutes of the show that I could have read out other members' comments. See? Fuck me. I'm like, think of me as the parent who will parent you the way you should be parented, which is none of this soft, nancy-pansy nonsense and entitlement. Fuck me. Tom, 4 Trent Galacticos are underwhelming. First time. Sounds like an Arsenal fan. I thought, like, he's blaming me for his comments not getting read, like I can read every comment. I'm sure I've probably missed 60% of the comments in the chat tonight, but I also have actual news that I need to read out as well. So I try my best, but again, I'm not perfect. And if anybody is displeased, no problem. Just cancel your membership and, go back to commenting when the videos are over. And then you don't have to moan at me. You can moan at me in the comments that I won't read. Muckrab said the issues with gifting memberships to go out randomly in a match days are the worst for it. Yeah, but it's also a kind gesture from people to gift those memberships, and I will never say anything but thank you to those people who gift those memberships to other people, because it's a beautiful thing. Mark said, Craig, that Desiree Doué is class. Yeah, he is, mate. Do you know what? I didn't know much about him until he came off the bench against us And then I realised what a talent he was. And ever since then, I've been watching him, and you're right. The goal that he scored tonight for Paris Saint-Germain was exceptional. It was probably John W. Henry commenting. Well, we know John's hard up for a few bobs, so wouldn't be surprised. Right, more news to get through. Tyler Dibley. Let's talk about him for a moment. Tyler Dibley is apparently now available for significantly less than the 100 million that Southampton were hoping to get for him, which, let's be honest, nobody was ever going to pay. Tyler Dibley is obviously a huge talent and will get a big move, but that £100 million price tag was absolute nonsense. And this piece here says Southampton initially slapped a £100 million price tag on Tyler Dibley, hoping to cash in to bolster for a championship push next season. Now, word among agents is that the club might settle for a fee of around £60 million for Tyler Dibley. That from Newcastle United FC Chronicle, and Transfer Sector posted it, so credit to those two. Let's check in on the Trent post. We asked, do you think Trent stays? 81% of people said no, they don't think Trent stays. So people still feeling pessimistic on that one. And look, I don't blame you. You know, 50 quid on the table, I'd push it over to him leaving as well rather than him staying. But, you know, I'm still hopeful. You know, you can never give up hope until it's signed, sealed and delivered. Jason Irish Red said, snowflakes, Craig, they'll always be snowflakes because they enjoy being snowflakes. Do you know what gets me about it, Jason, is it reminds me of the journalist whose name shall not be mentioned. People's belief that they have some self-importance to be better than other people. It really bugs me. If my kids were that entitled, they'd be getting a lesson from daddy. Anybody who thinks they have a God-given right for anything is weird. And yes, your memberships are appreciated. And yes, of course, I try to get through as many comments as I can. But entitlement is a horrible thing to have as a human being. So if you're one of those people, my advice to you as a fellow human being is drop it. You're no better or worse than anybody else. We're all on the same level on this channel. Reese said some messages not sending at times. I wonder, Reese, I'm not sure maybe if that's, you can only send a message every X amount of time or something, bro. Unnamed. Yeah, that's the new thing I'm saying now. Because that way, you know, he can't run to the police crying if I just say unnamed journalist. It's my way around it, really, isn't it? He'll go to Chelsea on a 14-year contract, said Stephen Shenton. Probably, you know, there isn't. I was messaging in the Discord group the other day. Who was it that said that? Stephen. And we were basically saying every player that I've seen this window that's been linked with moves away for big money, Chelsea's name has been in every conversation. It feels like they don't have the same rules as the rest of the world, because how can Chelsea, who've spent over £1 billion in the last 2 or 3 years, still be linked with huge moves for players? It's mental. Right, Xabi Alonso. According to this report here, Real Madrid want to make Xabi Alonso their next head coach to replace Carlo Ancelotti. And this piece said it's almost impossible now for Ancelotti to stay at Madrid. So if I was an Arsenal fan and I read that, I'd be very concerned about Zubamendi, because Zubamendi idolises Xabi Alonso. And if Xabi Alonso goes to Madrid and they need a midfielder, which they're talking about, you would reckon he's top of the shopping list. And I think he would turn his back on anybody in the Premier League to go and play for Alonso at Real Madrid. So Arsenal fans, you know, brace yourselves, because if that happens, then, well, I don't think he comes to the Prem. So also, this piece here said that Arsenal are preparing an offer worth €30 million for Real Madrid midfielder Arda Güler, who is not happy with his limited game time. Now, I think I can speak for everybody when I say, if there's any hope of that young man leaving Real Madrid for anywhere near that fee, if we're not in that conversation, we're idiots. And I know he's had his little fallout with Dom, but, you know, 30 million euro for a player of his calibre would be exceptionally cheap. So, if there's a conversation to be had there, I hope we're in that conversation. Kelly Courtois, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, Kelly. Thank you for your support. So Paul Joyce came out and said there has been a breakthrough in negotiations with Virgil van Dijk. So let's play a guessing game. When do we think the club are going to announce the 2 contracts for Virgil and Mo? Because I'd be astonished if they aren't announced before Sunday's game against West Ham. I think, as somebody else mentioned, I can't remember if it was Mukrab or somebody else in the chat earlier on mentioned that this is the timely boost, the positive news that Liverpool need to give that last push and to get Anfield, the fans and everybody back up, to give the lads this push to help us get over the line. Tomorrow, said Jonesy lad, before the West Ham game, said James. Friday, said Ian Greenstreet. Thursday, midday, said Adam. Jeremy, after a win. A couple of Fridays from Dave and Stephen Shenton as well. In 48 minutes, said Steve Aldersley. Well, the information that we received and the information that journalists had at this moment when I got it, let's say lunchtime, maybe a bit later, it doesn't look to us like it had been signed there. I think the formal part of that was still to happen. Also, on Mohamed Salah, and this is another indication that you'll probably like. 1 second. Liverpool posted a picture of Mohamed Salah doing his best Anfield Agenda impression there with the 6-pack with just an emoji of the king. And then on top of that, Mohamed Salah has also withdrawn from the Egyptian national squad for the end of season stuff at June. So it looks like Mo's resting up to be prepared for another assault on the Premier League. So all of these things, you know, the news that came out around Mo stepping away from Egypt, June camp to rest up and recuperate after a hectic season, all of these things make me feel really, really happy. Lewis Steele said, no details are known on Salah's potential new deal, but sources suggested 2-year extension. Another one said no wage cut for Mo either. Lee Clegg, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Right, let me get this comment up from Luke. Wouldn't mind seeing us go for Morgan Rogers. He's a player, isn't he? It feels like every time I tune in to a Villa game, he scores or assists. Like, all the time. So, I doubt it. I doubt it'd be possible, mate. Aston Villa are not stupid. They're not going to let him go. But I agree with you, Luke. He's a belter of a player. Right, let me get through more of your comments. 1 second. Oh, lads, I'm buzzing tonight, honestly. I'd no intention of working today, but I'm absolutely buzzing now, and I'm so happy about this situation. I'm trying to find Kelly's post. 1 second. Kelly, oh, do you know what? Belter comment. I'm glad I went looking for your comment now, Kelly, because it's a belter. Young Craig, firstly, I love you for that, Kelly, thank you. Young Craig, can we please stop signing players whose name we can't pronounce? There must be a worldly talent called Schmiff out there. Something simple, yeah. Bob, do you know what I mean? Why can't Bob Jones, Kelly? Do you know what I mean? No, we get Dominic Soboslai and Hugo, whose name I can't pronounce. Do you know what? And then Georgie Mamuradashvili. You know, I even got myself to pronounce that one, Kelly. I spent an hour practicing that one day. But just whatever way you're supposed to roll the letters for Hugo, I can't do it, Kelly. I just can't get it out of my face. Belter comment, though. Appreciate that one. It really made me smile. Steve said this isn't work. Well, yeah, you're kind of right, to be honest, mate. I don't think of it as work, but you know, mentally I need the break on occasion. But you're right. Homegrown as well, said Luke Belton. Whatever happened to Milner and Jones? Yeah, exactly. No. We need to go out there and absolutely just mortify Craig with some names that are unpronounceable. I keep coming back to this, but there was maybe 2 years ago, maybe even longer, when we first were linked with Dominic Szoboszlai. Myself, Sabrina and Connor were all here in my living room, and we put it into Google pronounce and Szoboszlai, and we were all sitting around the living room, all of us going Szoboszlai. If anybody had recorded it, we'd have looked like some group of clowns. A kit okay, but it's not okay. It's look. Somebody give me an easy way to remember Hugo's surname, because if he's going to become a Liverpool player, lads, I best learn how to pronounce the gentleman's surname. Weirdly, I find Mamardashvili much more straightforward to pronounce. But I don't know why. KTK. KTK. A KTK. A KTK. A KTK. A KTK. A kit a K. I mean, there's French people. I mean, there was a French gentleman in the chat earlier on. Monsieur, your help, please. Jeremy said, just found out the news. Happy to keep Van Dijk and the Egyptian King. Keep up the great work. Nice. So, I want to show you guys the picture of that trophy I was on about, because I ordered this today and we're going to be bringing it to the live shows at the end of the season. So, if you're going to come along to one of our 2 live shows, well then, you'll get a chance to hold this and get a photo with it. 1 second. Ordered that today. It is a full-size replica of the Premier League trophy, and we are going to be bringing it over to Liverpool for our 2 end-of-season shows to celebrate in style, ladies and gents. And if you do want to come and see us for either of those 2 shows, remember you can get your tickets with the QR code on the screen, or else search Hot Water Comedy Club and have a look on their listings. You'll find it there. There's also a link in the description, but we cannot wait for it. And we seen the trophy today and we thought, you know what, we got to make that happen. So we bought it and it's been shipped over, and then we're flying it over with us to Liverpool for the shows, and we hope you can come along and join us. Right, let me close this down. There we go. Right. Ethan said, who is more likely, Delap or Hugo? I want to answer both, and I mean, I'm trying to be sincere about that. I think there is a world where potentially both are possible, but if it's a one or other scenario, Hugo. Hugo is the one that, as per Ben Jacobs, I believe. Let me get back and read this for you, my man. Is this one or that one? 1 second. Sorry, dude. I have so many stories here in my notes. I'm trying to fly through them. This one. So, Ben Jacobs said, Hugo Ekitike is the name that pops up most when I speak to people about the Liverpool striker situation. So, it is believed that he's the target. He's the number 1 target. You have to get the red ribbons too. Don't worry, Jeremy. Already sorted, bro. I believe the ribbons are coming with it. They have pictures of it with ribbons, but it was from the Manchester City treble season, and I didn't want to put it up with the blue and white ribbons. But yeah, it's full size, 77 inches, like. So I cannot wait. We'll all be doing Virgil van Dijk trophy lifts together. I don't want to be pessimistic here. I'm glad Salah and Virgil stay, but the club should start looking for players who could potentially take their place. No, that's not being negative, Patrick. That's being realistic, to be honest with you, my man. The reason why I was so adamant, Patrick, that they had to stay was for the very reason that you've mentioned, bro. Liverpool haven't succession planned for either of them. So that's what had me so worried about the summer. If we didn't get the contract sorted for Virgil and Mo, then it would have been just a mad dash to get players sorted. And I would have felt it was too much change to be consistent and challenge for the title next year. So I don't think you're at all being pessimistic. I think it's a very rational post, and I agree with you 100%. Now we have 2 years to properly succession plan. So whether that's bringing in somebody like Hoyson as an example at centre back and giving him years to progress, or whether that's seeing how young Rio gets on the right side, and maybe he is the future replacement for Mohamed Salah and he's already at the club, but now we've got 2 years to watch his development and judge whether we need to bring in somebody else or whether he's the guy. So yeah, I agree. Right, there was something else. Just hopped in, Craig. Which journalists are saying the contracts are coming? Joyce, Romano, Ornstein, Ben Jacobs, and they're just the ones that I've seen. I'll read them all out to you again. Don't worry, folks, for people coming in late. I'll take you through everything about these two gentlemen in 1 second. Ethan Lee. Elliot in or out? I think he is a phenomenon. If it was up to me, Ethan, in, without a shadow of a doubt. But based on what the journalists are saying, and in particular, the strongest indication I think was from Melissa Reddy, it looks like Arne Slot is open to selling him this summer. The Reds have been linked with a couple of players, including Fermin Lopez and a few others as potential alternatives. But, you know, for me, Ethan, I'd agree with you. I really like Elliot, and I think he offers something different. So, Reese said, Craig, join the Ultras. Wonder, is there a Discord? There is a Discord, Reese, and honestly, it isn't for Ultra members, but I know you long enough that I wouldn't have a problem putting you into the Discord group, mate. So, email me, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com, Reese, and I will get a link to join the Discord sent over to you. I'm sure Mark has no issue with that either. Mark usually helps me in the decision making there, so email me, bro, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com, and I'll sort that for you. What was I going to do? I was going to read you through all the stories. Yeah, 1 second. So, Lewis Steele said Mohamed Salah is skipping Egypt's June international camp to fully focus on resting his body after a long and arduous campaign at Liverpool. So when I seen that post, I thought, oh, hello. Why is he doing that now? Then it started to become clear. Then Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool maintained their confidence that both Salah and Van Dijk will stay and sign new deals. The club absolutely wants to get it done ASAP. And of course, you can find all of these posts and more on the Anfield Agenda X account, so do give us a follow on there. Just search Anfield Agenda if you're on Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days. Then we had, and I'll talk about Konate's situation actually in a moment. Then we had Fabrizio Romano posting, breaking, Mohamed Salah closing in on new deal at Liverpool as an agreement is now at the final stages. Club confident to get it done soon. Same for Virgil van Dijk, who recently confirmed progress made. Salah and Liverpool expected to continue together. On top of that, we had David Ornstein saying Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk closing in on signing 2-year contracts with Liverpool, both players into the final months of their existing deals, but breakthrough found in negotiations and fresh terms set to extend the pair until the summer of 2027. And then we had Paul Joyce confirming that there has been a breakthrough in negotiations with Virgil van Dijk. Also from Paul Joyce, there had been reports this week that Salah's age meant that he was facing a reduction in salary to stay at Liverpool, but it is understood that a pay cut has not been on the agenda during talks. Then we had Ben Jacobs saying Salah set to extend for 2 years on similar terms without a pay cut. Agreement is close, just awaiting a formal signature. So that's pretty much a quick roundup, but eagle-eyed Liverpool fans spotted something very interesting. So Fabrizio Romano posts about the Mohamed Salah situation, and who likes it? Milos Kerkez likes it. So remember what I said to you guys the other day? That as far as I'm concerned, Milos Kerkez is coming to Liverpool. You can see that this is why we're getting this confidence from that as well. He's liking lots of stuff around Liverpool. And the Mohamed Salah post from Fabrizio Romano was liked by Milos Kerkez. So, again, it's looking like some of our transfer business now is starting to take shape. What's this one? Hugo Andelap, don't get me salivating, Craig. Well, think of it this way, Matthew, right? We've seen lots of talk that Diogo Jota might be up for sale this summer, right? So we've seen Wolves, Newcastle, and Aston Villa mentioned with him. And it'd been mentioned that Liverpool would ask 40 to 45 million. So if that is to happen, then we're going to need a replacement for Jota. Now, Darwin is definitely going, so it stands to reason you need 2 replacements. And for me and many people in the chat when we were discussing this last night, the idea of a Delap and a Hugo double act, or a Delap and a Cunha, or a Delap and a Šeško, or a Delap and a whomever, feels like a realistic prospect, especially financially. So if you got even £35 million for Jota, well, that pays for Delap, whose relegation clause, confirmed by Sky today, is actually 30 million. Then, the money you get for Darwin, okay, you might have to put a little few quid on top of that, but the expenditure isn't huge there, and I think you would certainly say we've improved both positions, or at least credibly replaced both positions. Rob Wilson rejoined the Ultras after the great news on Salah and VVD. My man Rob, thank you, mate. Look, the support that you guys give the channel, it means the world to me. It really does. Our community is continuing to grow, and the support that you give us is phenomenal. So thank you to everyone that is a member, that subscribes, that watches the content. I owe you everything. Everything. You've changed my life, and I won't forget it. And I'll never become one of these arrogant arseholes who doesn't think your time is worth mine. I appreciate you all dearly, as do my family, and we love you to bits. So thank you for all your support. Even bearing with us with going to member only chat because of some of the negativity creeping in. Honestly, man, it means so much. Right, more talky talk. Even our friend earlier on, who got a little bit uppity because his comment wasn't getting read out, I didn't boo him. I gave him a timeout, but I also do feel bad that anybody feels that way, because my goal is to be as interactive as possible with all of our community. Robbo, LFC Robbo, thank you, man, for being a member with us as well. Mo and Virgil Brill will it mean our usual summer? No, I think this summer we'll certainly get the movement of players. It'll be open to interpretation whether, I guess, we're happy with them. But look, if it's Hugo or Cunha or whomever at striker, I think most of us are at least understanding of that. And then if you look at Kirkes at left back, that's probably the name, again, we're happy with. If you want to be an extra little bit greedy about it, Jarell Haddo, I wouldn't say no to him being introduced into the mix as well. The thing that does actually have me a little bit concerned is the Konate situation. Because we're in a tough position here, right? We know that he's on 80 grand a week or so, according to reports. We also know that he's asking for about 200 grand a week. So Liverpool have a decision to make. They either come to an agreement with Ibrahima Konate this summer and extend him, which again is what we all want, or they sell. And they have to do one of the two. Oh, Yamal scored, did he? Oh, hello. Hello. It's all coming up Millhouse here, isn't it? Interesting. Nice one. Happy days. Oh my god, it's 4-0 Barca now. Wow. That's an incredible scoreline. Sorry, I'm just checking in here. Wow. Verge stays. Ibu, in my opinion, he still wants to learn from him. I would imagine so. And on Ibu, I do have a little bit of news there. So, the Daily Express said that Ibrahima Konate's contract at Liverpool is set to expire June 2026 and the club has yet to make any progress in negotiations. Konate wants his elevated status in the team to be reflected in any new deal. And I get that. And that's understandable. He has certainly progressed since he's come to the club. He is the confirmed number one partner for Virgil van Dijk in the Liverpool defence. But if he's asking for Virgil van Dijk money, I don't think he deserves the same money as our captain, because I don't think he's got to the level of a Virgil van Dijk yet. So for me, I'd like to see maybe a doubling of Ibu's wages, or close to something like 140, 150, and then, you know, revisit this in another 2 years when maybe then you give him that bump up to the Virgil van Dijk level money. But if we don't sort that out quickly, then Liverpool have the decision to make on whether they cash in on Konate this season, because we can't go through another year of letting a player of his age profile and talent get into the last year of their deal. It would be silliness from the club, and it would just egg PSG on as well. Mohammed Rashid, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, bro. Appreciate your support. James said, great news on the contract. Let's get stuck into the hammers on Sunday. Oh, I think they're getting a whooping. I think with this good news on the contract, I think you'll see it reflected in the performances of Virgil and Mo as well. I think Anfield is going to be absolutely raucous. And I'll give you an early score prediction now. I'm going 4-1 to Liverpool. Will this mean we see Konate now sign his deal with VVD staying? Honestly, I don't know on that one, mate. But would you guys agree with me that if the club don't get it sorted before the start of next season, or I would go as far as to say inside June, if the club don't get this sorted inside June with Ibu, somebody's going to have to make a bold decision about whether we look to cash in, because we cannot afford to let somebody like him walk for free. You know, it's bad enough we've allowed the situation with Trent to get to this point. You could not do that again with Konate. So either we get it sorted and he stays, or we make the difficult decision and sell this summer. Mohammed said, good evening, Craig. Best wishes to you. Right back to you, my friend. Have you heard any news about Ibrahima recently, and do you think he could be a decent SALAH backup / replacement? Nothing to suggest an offer is imminent, but 100% yes with regards to could he do a job. You know, I think a lot of us here are fans of Brian Mbeumo and the work rate he has, the way he plays the game, and he's Premier League proven, and still, 24 years of age, something like that. So, absolutely, he's a really good player. I'm not going to say we're signing him, but it would be a sensible player to be looking at. George said, 150k is perfect for me, but 200k is way too much for a player who's had a lot of injuries. I agree. Look, for me, it comes down to what Van Dijk is on. So if Van Dijk's on 220, something around there, I don't think Konate is at Van Dijk's level. And I don't think you could have done what you've done with Virgil and dragged it out as long as you have with your captain, and then giving Konate the same money. It just, I don't see he's worth the same to the squad as a Virgil yet, because he's not as accomplished as Virgil yet. And of course, you had the point George made about the concerns around muscle injuries. Although this year, at least from my memory, it feels like we've had a better year with Konate around injuries. Give Konate 130, said Tanya. They have to give him a new deal this summer, said Jeremy. 160 should be good for Konate, said Ian. Stephen said, how much is Konate worth? Well, it's a difficult one to judge because he's going to have a year to go, so you won't see his full value. I would say Ibrahima Konate right now is a 60 to 70 million pound centre back with 2 years on a deal. So what would he be worth? 40 to 50? Maybe. It depends, because sometimes you see players on 1 year getting sold for mad money. Eden Hazard, as an example, when he went to Madrid for €100 million with 1 year to go. And the trade that Arsenal did as well with United around when Sanchez had a year to go on his deal. So I'm kind of stumped to figure out how much a player's value diminishes now with 1 year to go. Kane as well, said Mark. Yeah, good shout. I think if VVD leaves, Ibu would want more. VVD re-signing means Ibu will take 130 to 150. I hope so. That seems like the sensible play here. You know, everybody agrees that he's deserving of a big pay bump. But more than doubling what you're on, I don't know. I think we'd all be more comfortable around the 140, 150 mark. Right, let's keep going with the news. So on Isak, I think we can definitely write off Isak in our minds now. And yeah, I don't think we should even be talking about the idea of Isak now. Newcastle are in a very good position to qualify for the Champions League. They're looking probably the best of the rest there at the minute. So I think that, coupled with the fact that they don't want to sell him and they've won a trophy, I think he's staying at Newcastle. What national team is Mbeumo? He's one of the African nations. I can't remember which one. Yeah, sorry, man. I can't remember which one. I'm sure somebody in the chat. Cameroon. There you go. James said, what do you make of the Frimpong links? Is there anything behind them? Well, I would say yes, there's something behind them, because everybody knows there's an agreement with Leverkusen that he can leave for 40 million euro, which is about 33 million pound. And anybody who's in need of a right-sided player, whether you're in need of a wing-back, a full-back, a winger, you'd have to be weighing up Frimpong as an option. For us, if Trent did leave, it would be a lovely hybrid option of a really attack-minded wing-back and Frimpong and a young full-back in Bradley. But I've always got the feeling that Liverpool, if Trent does leave, won't want to undermine Bradley with somebody like a Frimpong, but they will want to make sure that we have cover if Bradley continues to get these type of injuries. So that's why when we're talking about players like the Freiburg right back that we mentioned yesterday, or the guy Wesley from Flamenco, or the guy from Rayo Vallecano, the Romanian right back, they're the type of options that I can see Liverpool being open to, because you're not talking huge money, and also probably coming in a second choice if Bradley's fit. Kyle Agger said, would you consider Delap a high chance of replacing Kane as the England striker? If so, see him as value buy due to the English national player tax. You'd have to say he's right up there, right? He probably should have been called up in the latest group by Thomas Tuchel, but I think at £30 million, it certainly eases any fears you have over Delap. You know, it's a worth a punt amount for many reasons, including, Kyle, what you've said about him being, you know, a homegrown player and a future English international. Arthur said, do you think there might be a crazy signing in this emergency window with the prize money available for the Club World Cup? There will definitely be business done. Will we be involved in it? Honestly, I've been kind of teasing that idea myself. I don't know is the honest answer, but it would be a good indication that we're ready to go, wouldn't it? If in that initial 10-day window, Liverpool act. It would certainly let us know that, okay, they have the plans in place. What I don't want to see as a Liverpool fan going into this summer is the players that we need to move on, their sales being dragged out and it then impacting the rest of the business we want to do. I hope that the deals are being set up in both directions. So lots of talk over the last couple of days about Luis Diaz in Saudi Arabia. And I don't really think we've had many conversations here on the channel about what we do if it was Diaz that gets sold along with Darwin as an example. I mean, I haven't even really given much consideration to what type of player Liverpool would look to bring in then. Because obviously you've got Gatbo, who would probably be the left-sided first-choice player. So do you bring in a young player, or do you maybe put in somebody like Kumas and think, right, well, you're now the backup? I wouldn't be fully convinced if that was the option, to be honest with you, but I'm just trying to show you the fluidity with the way we don't know who exactly has been moved on. Muckrab said, ideal for me, Hato, Hoyson, Kirkes, Hugo, and Buemo, keep Elliott and Trent. I hope Elliott stays as well, Muckrab. I'm expecting him to go, but I hope he stays. Kirkes, I am absolutely convinced is going to be a Liverpool player. I think that's the one bit of incoming transfer business I feel the most confident on. In Buemo, I don't see happening realistically, to be honest. I think the prudent thing is to look at Rio and see what he does over the next year in particular. Because he can play across the front three. You know, he can play coming in from the left. He can play on the right-hand side. So he could be very good cover in one of the wing positions. And if he continues to develop the way the club want him to, well, then you've got your heir apparent there maybe if Mohamed Salah does move on in 2 years' time. And Chiesa, that's another one. Like, there's so much uncertainty around Jota, Darwin, Diaz, and Chiesa. That's potentially 4 of the forwards that you could make an argument that they could all be sold, or, well, all of them individually could be sold, but I can't see the club making 4 changes in the attacking department in one window. Maybe that's why we have the Gittins link if Diaz goes. Yeah, decent shout, Wesley. I'm just unsure on Gittins. You know, his form seems to have tapered off a bit in the second half of the season with Dortmund. They've reduced the asking price from what was about €100 million down to about 60 to 70 million euro. And Liverpool usually don't do their shopping in the 60 million plus bracket. It's usually a player that isn't spoken about much, but maybe would have the same potential as somebody like Gittins, but isn't as media friendly, if you get me, or isn't as mentioned as much in the media. So, you know, sometimes the media attention around a player like Gittins drives the price up as well, because they link him with everybody, with a Liverpool, with a Chelsea, with an Arsenal, with a whomever. The Liverpool Prophet, and by the way, mate, I haven't had a chance to get back to your email yet. I did see it come in earlier on. I just haven't had a chance to get back to it yet. You said, Craig, personally, I think I'm in the minority, but I've never really rated Trent all that much. I feel this is a blessing. We can get somebody so much better who can defend and attack. So, I've never been convinced that Trent is going to become a Ballon d'Or worthy player. But I have to say, I do think defensively he's improved under Arne Slot this season with his body shape and positioning. His ball striking ability is clear for everyone to see. But I think the part it's for free that's stinging me the most in this situation. If Liverpool were to be getting 70 million quid for Trent, I'd probably feel a lot more relaxed about it. It just, if he leaves, it feels real snidey to me. Luke said, I can see Jonathan David on a free being brought in as a backup. Well, look, it's a credible striking option that Lille, I'm sure, are going to try and get him to stay, but I'd feel like we really cheaped out if we went there, to be honest. I'd rather spend the money on a Delap to come in as the second attacker. 3-1 PSG now. I feel for Villa there because, you know, when they got that one goal, I was thinking, right, even if they can get out there with a draw, that'd be a great result for Villa. 3-1. I mean, I don't see Villa turning that round at Villa Park, because I think in order to chase those goals at Villa Park, they're going to leave themselves exposed to the blistering pace of those young PSG attackers. So I can see a goal over in Villa Park. So yeah, I think PSG won strong foot in the semi-final after that result, if it stays at 3-1. Turkey news, if any, gone very quiet, Tanya. There was a bit of an argument, John Textor, one of the owners of Lyon, and Borussia Dortmund over the news that, you know, they were putting in offers from, he was saying that it was bullshit. So I don't know if there's anything around him and Dortmund still, but for us it's gone quiet. In all honesty, I've never really gotten much what's the fucking word I'm looking for? Encouragement when his name has come up in chats that I've had, but let's wait and see. Reese, Mr. Mag said, funnily enough, I think Real Madrid will win 4-0 against Arsenal. Look, you can never rule it out at the Bernabeu, but I don't know. I don't think Arsenal are a type of team that will capitulate and concede 4 without scoring 1. I don't. You know, whatever we say about them and whatever you want to talk about their fans in the way, I don't think they're the type of team that's going to go away and get trounced 4-0. I don't. I think they are defensively solid enough that they can frustrate Madrid, and maybe they concede 1 or 2, maybe they concede 3, but I don't know. I just can't see it in 90 minutes anyway that they'll capitulate 4-0. I think Arsenal are through, in all honesty. That was an incredibly impressive result with 2 of the best free kicks I've seen in a long time from Declan Rice and Mikel Merino with a good finish as well. And deserving of it, by the way. You know, Arsenal had 11 shots in that game. Every single one of them on target, which is nuts. Craig, we said the same thing about Barcelona. Yeah, but Barcelona were always defensively vulnerable. Like when we lost over there 3-0, that was never a 3-0 game. Never. We were, I thought, in control of a long part of that game. And I felt robbed when we left there losing 3-0. You can't look at that Real Madrid-Arsenal game and think Arsenal didn't deserve that win. You know, that was a deserving 3-0. I thought it reflected what we seen on the pitch. Adzer said, I'm putting a bet on PSG for the Champions League after that tonight. For me, I've got to say I underestimated them massively when we were playing them. But after watching the 2 games against us, I can't disagree with everybody who says they are incredibly impressive. What gets me most about that team is how well drilled they are, how hard they work, and how young and pacey it is. And then you've got the mix of the likes of Vitinha and the quality in the centre of the park. It's a very well assembled, young, hungry team, and they're dangerous teams. When you've got those youthful players with no fear playing in a stadium where the noise is incredible behind them, with a manager there that believes in you, it's a powerful thing. And that young, hungry group of PSG players look set for some big things. So yeah, they deserve the respect they're getting. And funnily enough, they're doing it now in a far more balanced way than the days of your Neymars and your Messis and your Mbappes. They've kind of gone back to the sensible option of bringing in good young talent, bringing through great players from their own academy. And you can see what it's done for them as well. And Enrique, how he's formed this team from the shaky start of the season they had to now. It's, you know, they deserve any plaudits they get. And I would go as far as to say I think that PSG team beat Arsenal if Arsenal get through. Like, the reason I say that is the second leg would be in Paris as well, which I think is a big factor. And we've seen that they came to Anfield and weren't overawed by Anfield on the occasion, and they did what they said they were going to do, which is come and play to win and play without fear, and they did. So yeah, credit them, and it's going to take one hell of a team to put them out. And they've already won the French league as well, so they can rest up players, or, you know, just keep them ticking over and focus fully on the Champions League. David, thank you for the super chat, David. 1 second. David said PSG look better without Mbappe. Yep, absolutely. You can afford to carry one luxury player in a team that maybe doesn't have to do the donkey work that the rest of the team does. But when you have 3 of them in a team, and Mbappe, and Neymar, and Messi, you're giving the rest of the team too much to do. To think Liverpool were monitoring Kvaratskhelia, shame. Yeah, but you'd have to say he probably feels like he's made the right decision, because he's gone in there and they're now 1 foot into the semis of a Champions League, although Villa will certainly not give up without a fight, and rightly so, but he's not going to feel like he made a terrible decision. So, and look, PSG were persistent in chasing him as well. Madeni said that 60 million for Kvaratskhelia looks cheap now, doesn't it? Yep, it does. It really does. So on the Arda Güler thing, right? Again, I want to come back to that story because it said Arsenal are preparing an offer worth 30 million euro for Arda Güler. I mean, surely to God, there's no way Madrid selling for that little. Like, especially if Arsenal come and knock in, they're going to think, well, Odegaard, we're not making that mistake again. But if he's available for that money, you'd have to imagine there'd be a whole heap of clubs looking at him, because he's a really talented player, and at that money, it's nuts. Right, ladies and gents, I need your help, because on a night like tonight, where we get the great news that the contracts are pretty much there and done, and they're just waiting on the signatures, we need 1,000 likes on this stream now to celebrate. So if you can, take a second and hit that like button for me. Would really appreciate it. Got to get up to 1,000 likes for this type of celebratory stream. Peter Lawrence, welcome Peter to Anfield Agenda FC. Thank you for your support. Even if we had half the PSG team, we'd win the league back to back. The midfield is what impresses me. Like, Vitinha is one hell of a player, one hell of a footballer. Matthew said, I can never take rumours of Madrid Barca stars leaving seriously. They're all too prideful and love the clubs way too much. I mean, I guess some time will come where a player feels like they're not getting the love. Like, I always look at the Rodrigo situation, and he sees Mbappe coming in and Bellingham coming in and maybe Trent coming in and all these. He probably wonders, where am I in the pecking order here? How far am I going to fall down? Because, you know, they've got Endrick as well coming through Madrid. I wonder if players like Güler are going to start to feel like, well, look, I need to move on to get proper game time. Our owners look like bigger and better gimps for not going for Kvara and Marmoush. The Marmoush thing will frustrate me forever. Absolutely. Even now Salah staying, I don't care. I still think Omar Marmoush should have been a Liverpool player. I'm really pissed off that we didn't make that happen, because he would have been legit in our team, as he will be in the Man City team. That one really annoys me, because I was banging that drum for a long, long time saying, get him, get him, get him. He's the guy, get him. And yeah, he's gone to Man City and he's just a class act. He's a great footballer. Gumi said, Vitinha, Neves, Fabian Ruiz is a beautiful midfield three. Do you think Alonso is still favoured for the Madrid job? Yep. The only thing that makes me second guess a little bit LFC Robbo is I'm sure the sporting director or somebody at Leverkusen came out a couple of weeks ago and categorically said Alonso's staying. So, I mean, what's that space? But honestly, if Real Madrid come and knocking, I mean, I don't think he says no. I really don't. You know, he'd be walking in there to coach a team with Mbappe, Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, fucking Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, maybe Trent, Thibaut Courtois. I mean, you'd be licking your lips as a coach, and somebody who's already loved and idolised in Madrid. Our owners only care about getting richer, not winning trophies. So I had an email from somebody, one of our community yesterday, and it was kind of along the lines of Harry Kane and why this person believed Liverpool should sign Harry Kane. And I'm not going to get into the back and forth of the conversation, but ultimately the way I tried to explain to him my thoughts is For us fans, we look at it and think Harry Kane would score 30 goals, right? And we think he's a guarantee of 30 goals a season. Now, you might say, I don't want him, and that's fair enough, but we look at it that way and think, right, he'd be a player that could come in and guarantee Liverpool 30 goals and we then win stuff. But I don't think that's how FSG ever look at things with Liverpool. I don't think they look at it and think, how can we win everything possible? I think they're happy to have Champions League football regularly and, yeah, pick up some trophies along the way. But I don't think John W. Henry, Tom Werner goes to bed at night obsessing about winning trophies with Liverpool. And that, to me, is why I don't think they have that burning desire to win. Because I think they're in it for the financials of it. And as long as Liverpool keep getting that Champions League money in and, you know, keep ticking along and, yes, picking up some trophies now and then to keep sponsors happy and keep the club progressing and the pressure off them, that's my take on the owners. And it annoys me because I want an owner that is leaving no stone unturned to win. Like, if we finished second or third, I don't think John loses much sleep. Whereas for us, we'd be fuming and trying to figure out what could have got us the first. You know, would one more signing have done it? What if an injury had have happened or blah, blah, blah. I've never got the feeling that they're that way. Mohammed said, no disrespect to Slot, but if we still had Klopp, would we win the Champions League this year with the Prem? Well, let's be fair about something here. Jurgen had the same team last year and didn't win the Prem. You know, you can talk about Chiesa, but he hasn't been used this year. So I think that is a bit disrespectful to Arne Slot because he did what Jurgen didn't do with the same group. Now, Jurgen was on his way to maybe doing it, and then, of course, we had the injuries and whatnot, but the only thing I didn't like about Arne Slot this season has been his, what I feel, over-complimentary words towards Paris Saint-Germain. Almost as if he was in awe of them. It was respectful. I'm not trying to say he wasn't fighting Liverpool's corner, but I thought he was a bit too fulsome in his praise there. I would have liked a bit more snidiness in the build up to it, rather than the kind of jovial attitude. Just small little things, but other than that, I'm intrigued to see if we see a big difference in what happens next season when he gets some players in that works in his system, because the second half of this season, I'll be really honest with you, I haven't really felt excited with the style of play. It's been effective and we've got results, but I think sometimes as football fans we're spoiled, right? We want the best of everything. I think he's been overly pragmatic on occasion, and I really hate the slow build-up play because I think it just creates a rod for our own back where it's too easy for teams to just see everything played in front of them and we're too slow in our build-up. I prefer the more hectic, chaotic, energy-driven approach that we had under Klopp initially anyway. So for me, I want that back. Like, it always felt to me this season like the plan was to wear a team down either mentally or physically, or to play through an hour of the game to find the chinks in the armour of the opponent and then break through and capitalise on it. I don't like that, because I want us to win the game in the first half and then be able to make those changes at 60-65. So I want us starting at 100 miles an hour. And I really, 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 really hate the fact that Virgil van Dijk changed us around at Anfield in the game against Paris Saint-Germain. It really bugs me that he didn't attack the Kop end in the second half, that he played into the Kop in the first half. It was tempting fate, and I hated it. Dave said you can see the difference when we step up in speed. Yeah, so Arne came out after Fulham and said we're much better in the second half. And of course we were. But why were we much better? Because we had to rescue the situation, because we were desperate, because we were far more attacking. Why can't we be like that from minute one? Why does it take us to fall behind, or why does it take to 65, 70 minutes before that urgency comes into our play? I think a lot of fans, if I'm right, would have similar concerns. LFC Robbo said, I do think Slots football is more suited away from home. Home with the fans, you don't want to control the football. I would agree with that. But even when we do go away from home, let's say against Paris Saint-Germain, and we know we're setting up that we're probably going to have to suffer, and we're probably going to have to defend, and look to play through the lines and counter quickly. Putting Diogo Jota up top with no pace, no ability to aerially dominate a defender or hold the ball up, I didn't understand the thought process behind that. Whatever we think about Darwin, in an away game in Europe, I 100% think he was the man to lead the line away against PSG. If nothing else, because he's a handful. And he'll run a defender, battle with a defender, and it will give us an out over into the channel or direct down the top. It baffles me. And then he backed that up against Newcastle by doing the same thing. Putting Jota up top, and he did nothing. David said, the second half of the season, the balance has been right, and he hasn't had faith in the bench. Sorry, the balance hasn't been... Sorry, I'm going to read that again. Second half of the season, the balance has been right, and he hasn't had faith in the bench. No, he hasn't had faith in the bench. Not at all. Nothing really to add. You're right. It's been frustrating. And especially with Chiesa. It makes no sense to me that Chiesa hasn't been given more opportunities. Right. More breaking news. Just came into me this second. Are you ready? Are you ready? Sit yourselves down. The agreement is done between Liverpool and Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah at any moment will be ready to sign a new contract. The drafts are already being exchanged, and it could be completed very soon, from Fabrizio Romano. That's the here we go. So again, I'll read it out to you. The agreement is done between Liverpool, Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah at any moment will be ready to sign a new contract. The draft of that contract are already being exchanged, and it could be completed very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, the boys are staying. Gets in. I'm fucking delighted. Honestly, I'm chuffed about that. Now we can all breathe and relax and enjoy winning the Premier League title. Because whatever happens now, I feel we're going to be competing to defend this title next year properly once we have that spine of the team intact. We'll see what the summer brings with regards to transfers. But, let's celebrate this moment. But let's not take a single step backwards with what we demand of the owners in this summer window. So this is brilliant. And thank you for getting it done, sincerely. But we need to back this up with a good transfer window where we go out and we strategically attack the positions we need to fill. And if we do that, look, you won't be hearing the where's the money John stuff from me anymore. We need to get it done, and we need the summer to back up this great news, which is fantastic. Why do I feel like crying? It's weird. I'm honestly getting really emotional about this now. It just felt so wrong at the idea of them not staying after the season that we're having. Yeah, genuinely buzzing. Saudi were interested in Van Dijk. They offered him a huge financial package, but he decided to commit his future to Liverpool, said Fabrizio Romano. And look, none of us had any doubts what the two gents wanted. We all knew all the way through this process what Virgil and what Mohamed wanted, which was to stay at Liverpool. And now they're doing it. And Mohamed Salah can now continue to write his name into the history books of our great club. And by the time he finishes this in 2 years' time or whenever, we will be talking about him up there in the same breath as your Kennys, your Stevies, for what he's done and given to the club. And Virgil will be there as one of the great captains as well. Corbin said, reckon PSG want to swap Mendes for Robbo? I wouldn't say so, mate, no. Danny said, we needed this right now. Craig, please pinch me. I know, man, I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing about it. Cal said, Craig, now Virgil and Mo are staying. Views on Edwards and Hughes, in my opinion, still a lot to do, given the turmoil this has caused. Look, happy it's done, like you've said, Cal. Still think it's too early to really have much of a view on Edwards in particular, or Hughes, sorry. I don't know. I don't really think Hughes was much involved in the contract negotiations, if I'm not mistaken. I think Julian Ward was, and I think it was Julian Ward and somebody else were more taking care of that. But look, either way now, we know we don't need to bring in a right winger. We know we don't need to bring in a Virgil van Dijk replacement, so we can put all that shit out of our minds and start talking about building around this and succession planning then for the future. Oh, lads, honestly, why do I feel so emotional about this? I feel like I'm about to tear up, honestly. That's how happy I am that this is done. Craig Adams, thank you for gifting a membership, mate. Appreciate you. And again, we got to get to 1,000 likes now. Come on now. There's 1,800 people in the chat. Hit that like button for me. Get us over 1,000 likes on the night that we officially find out that Virgil and Mo are staying. And again, for those of you coming in just in the last few minutes, the very latest piece of information that we have, and King 7th, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, is from Fabrizio Romano that says, the agreement is done between Liverpool, Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk. Van Dijk and Mo Salah at any moment will be ready to sign the new contract. Drafts are already being exchanged and it could be completed very soon. So we had that. We had Paul Joyce saying the breakthrough happened with Van Dijk. You had Ornstein saying both of them were edging closer. And then late tonight now we're starting to see it coming through. Also from Fabrizio Romano, he said Mohamed Salah never entertained the Saudi Pro League. He wanted to stay at Liverpool. And one of the moments that made me fall in love with Mo even more came from Mika Richards on Match of the Day, when he said when they were at Fiorentina together that Mohamed Salah wanted to come to Liverpool, even then at Fiorentina, which is, it just feels like it was meant to be that this man would come to Liverpool and become a club legend. I remember being in Turkey on holidays when Salah was only coming through at Basel and speaking to the taxi driver who was Egyptian, and he was telling me about Mohamed Salah and how he thinks he'll end up at Liverpool one day. And I thought that dream was dead when he ended up at Chelsea. But, you know, little did I know that a few years later, there we go. Stevie Boy said, so what was the delay then? No pay rise and no increase in terms. So, I mean, it's a fair question. All I can think of is that maybe initially the players had asked for more and the club had offered a lot less. And maybe both sides feel like they've played the game well and gotten something they're happy with. Now, also, Stevie Boy, we've got to say, if the club know Trent is going, and again, it isn't confirmed at this moment, but it's believed he is, maybe that weighed into their calculations financially. Because maybe Trent was the priority and they had to sort out, and they were maybe willing to pay a bit more than they wanted to keep Trent. And if he's not going to stay, maybe they had a pool of money that they felt comfortable to commit. I don't know, but I am just grateful it's done at this point. Now you're going to believe us. The king and the captain stay, said TOTT2KZ1. Yep. And again, 2 quick things, and we're not going anywhere yet. We're staying live for another 20-25 minutes. Both of our shows are on sale for the end of season party. Final day of the season title celebration at the Hot Water Comedy Club May 25th. And then May 28th, our Anfield Agenda reunion show. And also, we're going to be bringing along this bad boy, a full-size Premier League trophy for you to celebrate with us, have a photo with or whatever on the night as well. I'm just waiting for that to be confirmed, being delivered to me, and I'll be bringing it over with me. And we'll be lifting that trophy together and celebrating on the day. I'll also be leaving at the venue, and it'll be there for the Wednesday show as well. So if you're coming to the Wednesday show, we'll have that Premier League trophy there for you as well. Steve said, I was only a few minutes away. Happy days. You were, you said 10 o'clock. I think, Steve, if my memory was right, or 10:30, but you did say it would be this evening. Aaron Picard said, queue up Thin Lizzy. The boys are back in town. Don't be saying that. Brian will be around. Whenever I mention Thin Lizzy, I think of Brian, because Brian's a massive Thin Lizzy fan. And David Leslie, man, thank you for gifting a membership as well. Really appreciate that, David. We're nearly at 1,000 likes, 937. Come on now, hit that button for me. A. Michael said, this is a big relief for the club and the fans. I feel more relaxed now knowing both will be here leading next season. Same with me, mate. Also, from Fabrizio Romano, Liverpool will have many changes in the summer window. We anticipate some signings. It could be 2, 3, maybe more. It also depends on outgoings. So, you know, Kirkes will probably come in at left back. We'll see what happens at right back. And then obviously we'll be talking about a signing or two up top as well. So, relief is what I'm feeling right now as a Liverpool fan. Craig, is everything still okay with the wheelchair help for me at the show? Absolutely, Colin. As I mentioned, touch base with me a little bit beforehand and I'll make sure. Are you coming to the Wednesday show, Colin? Just let me know, mate, if it's the Wednesday one. Because if it's the Wednesday one, well, then my wife will be there. My 21-year-old daughter will be there. So we'll definitely have plenty of people who can help you and assist you if needed. And the venue is fully wheelchair accessible anyway. So, yeah, man, we got you. Don't worry. And again, if you're a moderator and you want to come to either show, your ticket is on the house. So if any of our moderators want to come along to either the last day of the season show on the Sunday or on the Wednesday, contact me. I'll send you a free ticket as a thank you. We always do this for our live shows for our moderators. It's the Wednesday one. Nice. No problem, Colin. We got you. Don't worry, mate. If I have to personally come out and help you, my man, we got you covered. Don't worry. King 7th said, hope this gives us a boost for the final stages of the season and we can win all of our remaining games. A. Michael said, I think Salah and VVD also held out a bit using the offers of Saudi Arabia and European clubs to get a good deal, but the club wouldn't budge, but eventually they came to a deal. Great news. Definitely great news. Danny said, imagine the new shirt comes out before your show. It's sexy. Anfield will be buzzing and your show. We love you, Craig, and Liverpool, Kirkes soon. So I can 100% categorically tell you that it won't be out before our show. August the 1st is the earliest Liverpool can start selling the new Adidas kits. The deal that they have with Nike runs through to the end of July. And Nike are obviously going to want Liverpool lifting the league title in Nike shirts and whatnot. So, unfortunately, there'll be no Adidas stuff until August. But I think the August date is coinciding with the club doing up the club, I want to call it mega store, but what would they call it? Their flagship store at Anfield. They're making that bigger, and I think that's to make room for all of the Adidas retro gear and whatnot. Actually, Joe, I'm going to leave that comment up for a while, mate, because who doesn't love hearing saying we love you, Craig, and Liverpool? Come on now. I never understand why you guys tune in. anybody who watches this, and I don't get it, you're nuts. I'm not worth your time, but I appreciate it. And whatever it is that draws you to our channel and our community, we're glad you're here, and we're hopeful you stick with us, because we want to become the biggest Liverpool fan community in the world, and we need to do it together. So stick with us. Actually, I meant to leave that up. And again, thank you. On nights like tonight, I get very reflective and very emotional about the club and everything. And yeah, what a season, lads. David Massett said, sorry mate, won't be at the show. Daughter's getting married that week in the Caribbean. Well, I think, David, if there's a valid excuse, the daughter getting married in the Caribbean is probably right up there. Now, the problem here is, where the fuck is my invite to the Caribbean, David? Come on now. Craig in the Caribbean. I could make that happen, David. It's because you're the dogs. Bollocks. Thank you, man. Look, I'm not. I'm just normal. Me, who feels like he gets lucky. And I don't get it. I probably should never say this stuff, but honestly, I don't understand it. I don't even understand how my wife's still here after 25 years together, you know? Because it certainly isn't because of a DIJK style situation. I mean, I have done things quickly, though, to be fair. Asantino said, Mo and Virgil, statues going up. Let's hope Trent changes his mind. Well, on that, there was something I had in my notes for the morning video that said, from Anfield sector, they said, the mood around is more positive with Virgil and Salah. It remains to be seen what decision Trent will take. Recent suggestions had already suggested he's pledged his future to Real Madrid were emphatically dismissed by those with knowledge of the current state of affairs. So, again, nothing is done till it's done. But I don't think Trent stays. But if ever anything was going to convince them, surely it's the captain staying, Salah staying, and the club looking to be proactive in the market. At least Trent can look at it and think, right, Liverpool want to go in next season and win and want to be competing for trophies. So certainly can't say that lack of ambition from the club is going to be one of the reasons that maybe he wanted to go. Kings Seven said, I too get emotional. Every setback sends throbbing through my heart, and when we win it gives me such a good feel factor. Will always back us, and distaste negativity. I prefer being constructive. So I totally get where you come from. I'm an emotionally led person, so good or bad, I feel extremes of either around the football club. So when things are good, I literally feel like I'm walking on air. When things are bad, I don't want to get out of bed, and it impacts me too much. That's why when I talk about the club shunning us, the channel, and everybody kind of just pushing us away and not wanting us to succeed, it bugs me, because like the one thing you love more than anything else in the world, apart from my family, doesn't want nothing to do with you. And that stings like fuck, no matter what way I dress it up. Smokey said, Craig, the owners have put a tear in your eyes, and you have to eat broccoli all in one season. Love the show. Yeah, look, if ever there was a reason to eat broccoli, Liverpool being Premier League champions, and maybe I eat the broccoli out of this trophy. Maybe we do it at the show. Stargirl said, I've just come in. People tune into your shows because you're friendly and very welcoming to everyone. I hope you are still here for next season. I will be. Sorry. I certainly will be here for next season. But my aim for next season is to have a second content place that I can do non-Liverpool stuff properly. Liverpool stuff I only want to keep on Anfield Agenda and on YouTube. But I am in discussions with another platform to bring football content onto there, non-Liverpool related. And I'm hopeful that I can give more news on that before the end of the season. But with regards to the channel, I don't know when the wheels are going to fall off, Stargirl, but Go member only has made me feel reinvigorated, because I feel so much more at ease on the streams, because I know I'm not going to get a deluge of crap coming in at me, and I know our moderators aren't going to be overworked and stressed, and that got me down, because I hate it. I hate negativity. Sometimes I am negative, but I don't like it, and I don't like it in me. So yeah, man, I hope to be here next season as well, but I also hope that we can become the biggest Liverpool platform in the world. And who knows? It blows my mind that, like, I'm not from Liverpool. I'm not even from the UK. And our channel is the most watched in the world. For Liverpool, that's nuts. But it's because of your support. That's why you love Craig, because you're normal. No big-headed YouTuber vibes. No names given, but the one who loves himself drives me nuts. I don't see how any of us could have an ego, though, right? Because ultimately, I'm not a footballer. I don't have the talent. I'm not a singer, despite what you might think. I'm not a comedian. I'm nothing. I'm just a dude. And I do know I'm a football. You know, I'll always defend myself in that regard. But I'll never see why you'd have a big ego in this, you know. Why is there a reason to have a big ego? You know, ultimately we talk about other people's skill for a living. I feel like we should all be extremely grateful for the opportunity we have to make content. And if you can make a job out of it, it's a dream. And I'm living that dream because of you. And I don't give a shit about the money side of it. Like, I'm making a wage. I'm getting by. I don't want to be a millionaire. I have no intentions to be a millionaire. I'd probably end up giving half the money away anyway. I just want to live my dream of buying the council house I live in. We're getting somewhere closer to do that. And, you know, I've bought my first ever new car. And, you know, I'm happy. The detective said, we need your best rendition of "Oh, Slot. La 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 la. Oh, nay, slot. La 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 la." I say it because I suffer from PTSD when it comes to our club. Keep up the great work. Well, I always start off our live shows with a little RNA slot sing-along to make sure that everyone's in good form when we get there. So expect it for both the shows again. I wish I could tell you everything that was planned with the venue for the last day of the season show. But the reason I can't tell you is because some of it's still not fully confirmed. But you can probably expect a former player there on the day. You can probably expect me to be interviewing the former player on the day. And a few other surprises. But again, can't confirm because it isn't fully confirmed by the venue yet. And it's their day. You know, my show's a part of the day, but yeah, it's their day, but I'm telling you, it's going to be fucking incredible, and I can't wait. Aaron, if VVD keeps his form for 2 more years, would you consider him the best Premier League centre-back ever? I already do. But I guess others will depend on the metric. You know, how do you measure greatness? I think he's better than Terry. I think Rio Ferdinand is probably the closest thing to Virgil for me with regards to quality. But some of these guys have won a lot more silverware. But again, to me, that doesn't change the fact that I would say in anybody's Premier League best 11 of all time, Virgil would be in it. And that's testament to him. Stargirl said, sorry for the typos, I forgot to wear my glasses. A tip sheet for the broccoli. Blitz it in a smoothie with a protein shake. You won't even taste it. No, I can't be chickening out of it. I gotta do it the right way, Stargirl. And just eat the broccoli. Take it on the chin and eat it properly. what's the sinister stuff about being forcibly ostracized? I don't know what that means. Sinister. Sorry, man, I don't get what that means, Sinister. I don't know if you're feeling like somebody's annoyed you in the chat or something. Jeremy said you represent what Liverpool represent, which is integrity and being humble. I think that's an Irish trait, to be fair. I don't think us Irish people, maybe Mr. McGregor aside, and look, he earned the right to have that confidence and arrogance with his UFC performances. So I don't mean that, say it's not deserved confidence there, but ultimately we are humble people, you know. We will defend ourselves and our belief systems strongly, but, you know, we don't have egos, really. It's an Irish trait. We're very self-deprecating. I was just agreeing with your comments being pushed away. Oh man, that's things. Like, honestly, you know, knowing that all the local journalists despise me, kind of understandable because it's mutually a similar feeling. Knowing that the club won't even acknowledge our existence, knowing that we'll never ever receive the opportunities that other content creators have, and knowing that a lot of people don't even want you at the stadium, that really hurts because I love the city and the club dearly. But ultimately I came to terms with it, the fact that, look, in order for me to do what I do and be as honest as I am and things, and be as outspoken as I am, these are probably, unfortunately, the negative sides of that. But again, I don't care. You know, I'll say what I feel, and if the owners need to be called out, I'll call them out. And if that restricts my professional opportunities, I don't care. I can sleep at night. We all go through our ups and downs. I get stressed every day because of work, said Sipsco. Definitely. Like, when you've got a YouTube channel, you get YouTube Studio, which gives you all your analytics and data and stuff. And there's green arrows that point upwards when your channel's growing and you're above your average. And then there's grey arrows that point downwards when you're underperforming. And if ever I come onto the YouTube Studio app and there's grey arrows, I'm convinced the channel's done and everyone's gone. Like, I get really stressed about stuff like that. It's when you're a content creator, your entire life is chasing a dopamine hit, basically, and looking for acknowledgement or approval from everyone. That is your existence as a human being. Is every day it's, I hope someone likes the video, I hope someone watches this, I hope somebody clicks like, I hope. And when you're insecure like I am, that is a stressful existence. Right, ladies and gents, I am going to go and record a news video for the morning with all of the news and stuff culminated from tonight. So tomorrow is supposed to be, again, my day off, but, you know, if the contracts are signed and revealed tomorrow, then of course I will be on tomorrow. Craig, thoughts on losing Lucho, Darwin and Jota? I'd be surprised if we lost all three, mate. I think all are potentially there to go, but, you know, if you throw Chiesa into that mix as well, that's a lot of change for us to figure out an attack. If I was a guessing man, I'd probably guess Lucho and Darwin would be the two. But if I was in charge, Jota and Darwin would be the two that I'd be selling. Craig, you're a nice guy with a lot of charisma. I don't think there's a person in here who wouldn't want a drink or a meal with you. You deserve everything positive that happens to you. Enjoy it. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you. That's really kind of you to say. You don't want to have a meal with me, though, because I inhale food. I don't even like to have a conversation when I'm eating. It's head down. Let's get through this food. But look, folks, enjoy yourselves. We'll probably see you tomorrow. I'm setting up my brand new equipment set up tomorrow. My new Mac Studio arrived today. I've got my new monitor ready to go. So I'll upload a little video or clip of my new setup as well tomorrow when that's all sorted out. And again, thank you for everything, for your support of the channel, for everything. I really appreciate it. Do drop a like, hit that subscribe button for me before you head off, and we will catch up really soon. Again, to confirm for people coming in late, the biggest story of the day came when Fabrizio Romano tweeted, the agreement is done between Liverpool and Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah at any moment will be ready to sign a new contract. Drafts are already being exchanged and it could be completed very soon. And that was just after 10 p.m. We'll see you tomorrow. Much love.